our annual predictions video. So last season we had our predictions for all the leagues. They didn't go quite to plan, as you'd
Nope.
probably imagine. And this year we're going to just stick to the Premier League and the Championship. It's what we know best. I know we say we're the 90 plus 2. We might give you a bit of like a playoff race or promotion candidates for the other leagues, but Premier League and Championship is what we know best. Of course, we've got the Championship shirts on here. I've got this year's Argyle shirt on. Yours is the
Commemorative 30th anniversary of like the Papa John's trophy as it was back in the 90s.
So, yeah, today we're just going to kick things off with the Championship predictions. Of course, the Championship season is starting this Friday night, of course.
Blackburn Derby.
We're recording on Thursday, so we had to get this one out first. The Premier League one will be with you next week. But yeah, Xander, I'll let you kick us off as the Championship connoisseur with your Championship predictions. So are you going to go from top to bottom or bottom to top?
I think I'll go from bottom to top. Just
Okay.
go from that way. So, do you want me to do my bottom 3 first?
Yeah. We'll probably have a graphic up on the screen as well now that's your
Okay.
predictions in full.
So, my bottom 3 are, in 24th, I've gone for Oxford United. I think a lot of people would probably agree with me. I just think they've got a decent squad, I'd say. They've done well in the transfer market. But for me, I don't feel it's going to be enough. I just don't think there's enough Championship experience in that squad to save them. And then 23rd, I've gone... This has changed quite a bit, but I've got Derby County. Their pre-season's been woeful. Absolutely woeful. Losing to Chesterfield, losing to Barnsley. I mean, teams who are 1, 2 divisions below. The Derby fans are clearly unhappy with Paul Warne. So, I mean, I just don't see them staying in the Championship. Now, 22nd is a bit of a rogue one, I think, compared to what some people might think, but I've gone for Millwall.
Mm-hmm.
I think looking at Neil Harris's career, when he's moved clubs, like when he was at Cardiff, they had a good start to begin with, and then they kind of fell away. When he was at Gillingham, good start, fell off a little bit, and I feel it's just going to happen again for him at Millwall this time round. I think his style of football would have worked maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago when he was at Millwall initially. But I just don't think that style of play really suits the Championship now, given that there's more sort of like this progressive build-up football that's coming into the Championship. I just think Millwall are going to struggle, similar to what they did last season. So for me, that's my bottom 3.
Should I take it away with my bottom 3 whilst we're here then?
Yeah, go for it.
I feel like we might as well. So I've actually gone quite similar to you, to be honest. My bottom team is also Oxford.
Yeah.
I hate to write them off because honestly I feel like everybody is, and I don't want to just jump on that bandwagon. But as they have made some good signings, I don't feel like it will be like with a whimper completely.
No.
But I just do genuinely believe that the other teams in the division are just stronger than them. So I feel like on their day, the way that I've tried to do these predictions is like I look at the teams and think, would they beat that team above them, and would they beat that team? Like I put Millwall against the likes of like higher up the table. Like let's say when Oxford have to travel away to like Watford or Preston or Stoke, I just don't see them getting results. So that's where I feel like they're gonna struggle. And I mean, they were kind of the outlier in the League One playoff race last year, and obviously promotion in the end. Nobody would have predicted them to go up. So that was obviously a great success in itself. But yeah, I just do not see them having enough, unfortunately. 23rd place, similar to you, I've gone for Millwall. I feel like their time has come. Obviously, last year they were teetering with it a bit. Obviously, being an Argyle fan, very nervous come the end of the season. You had to go there, and it was kind of looking like they might have got dragged in it as well. Ended up surviving. But yeah, as you say, I feel like Neil Harris has kind of just run his course a bit. I think this could be his final year, especially if they go down. And yeah, I just don't see them having enough. Again, using that same mantra that I use for the other teams, when I see them like looking up the table, like when Millwall have to travel to like Sunderland or Bristol City, I just see them struggling. So I feel like Millwall. I feel like it will be a very tight like relegation battle again, just like last year. Don't feel like there'll be one team that really slips away from it. And then in 22nd, maybe slightly controversially, but I've gone for QPR.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I know Argyle travel there early in the season, so if we go there, I'll be at that game. If we go up there and
Yeah.
get battered, then I may already have egg on my face. But again, another team who was kind of teetering with it last year. I feel like they had pretty good home form come the end, which is what got them through it.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of the other teams around them, I just see them as the weakest. I know you obviously had Derby to go down, and
Yeah.
they're my 21st, so I feel like they're my interchangeable one there.
Yeah.
So do you
Uh,
want to take your 21? What have we done? The bottom three. So do you want to
bottom
do
three.
21 to 19?
Okay, 21 to 19. In 21st, I've got Portsmouth. I
Yep.
think I think this year the promoted teams are probably all going to have their struggles. Obviously, last year I think Argyle probably the team that were predicted to go back down, just purely
Yeah.
on size alone. Sheffield Wednesday, yes, they had a difficult start, but I don't think many would have thought it would have been as difficult as it was. And
Yeah.
Ipswich, people thought they would do well, but would people have thought automatic promotion? Probably not. But I think this year, I don't think we're going to quite get many surprises with that. So I've gone for Portsmouth in 21st.
Yeah.
In 20th, some might disagree with this, but I've gone for Hull City. I
Okay.
honestly don't think after last year, like they're going to do that well. I think obviously last year they had the likes of Liam Delap, Jacob Greaves, Fabio Carvalho,
Yeah.
Noah Ohio. A lot of them
Philogene.
players have Philogene as well. A lot of them players have, well, all of them have gone.
Yeah.
And I don't think they've really
And the
replaced.
manager.
And the manager, Liam Rossini, yeah. I think that was a poor decision to sack him. Obviously, my
Yeah.
manager of the season last year. Um, but yeah, I think it's going to be a tough season for them. And then in 19th, I've gone for Blackburn Rovers. I like John
Exact
Eustace.
same.
I do like John Eustace, but I just think Blackburn, if they lose they're going to probably lose Sammy Schmodix. Ipswich is looking like the place there. Sam Gallagher's gone. He was kind of like their second best goal threat. He's gone off to Stoke. But
Yeah.
then after that, they have made some decent signings in signing Andreas Weimann.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think Blackburn are going to have a very good season.
Yeah, so on a similar vein to you, obviously, I already mentioned Portsmouth. They are my... No, I didn't. I mentioned Derby, sorry. They're my
Yeah.
21st. I feel like it will be tight. They'll do well to stay up. They'll know they're in a battle, I think.
Yeah.
They obviously have had one of the stronger teams in League One for many years now, have been predicted to be coming back up, and then last year finally did it.
Yeah.
Now they're back in the Championship. It's going to be about trying to even out. Same as Argyle last year, really.
Yeah.
And will they? I think they will just have enough. Because I think there's teams who are weaker than them, obviously. Portsmouth, my 20th. I think that was the exact same as you, was it? Or did you
I
have
had
them in
21st for Portsmouth.
Yeah. And then Blackburn as well in 19th, same as you. So we actually haven't even seen each other's predictions before this.
No, we
it's
haven't.
just,
We
just
haven't.
complete chance. But yeah, Portsmouth again. It's good to see them back in the Championship.
It
I
is.
know,
It really is.
obviously, Argyle and Portsmouth over the years have had their dockyard derbies
Yeah.
and whatever, but I feel like they are just like a classic, like Coca-Cola Championship club.
Yeah.
And it's good to see them back up there. Obviously, Fratton Park's a brilliant ground.
It is.
And in terms of this season, I feel like you give a Portsmouth fan, you say, where do you want to finish? I think they would say, obviously, not going back down, because that's always what you want to make sure. And maybe looking towards heading up the table. I feel like, yeah, they will be one of those teams that they could end up doing better than that, but I feel like
Yeah.
they would be pretty content if they finished in 20th.
Yeah.
I feel like they pretty much kept the core of that side that got them up as well.
Yeah,
So
the
that's
co-
always a...
Yeah, the core of the squad's there. Obviously, Colby Bishop
Yeah.
had to undergo heart surgery, so that's probably going to be a big miss for them. Obviously, wishing him well. But they signed Jacob Murphy? Josh Murphy?
Josh Murphy, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, signed Josh Murphy from Oxford. Brilliant signing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who else they've signed really, but I remember when they got him, I thought that was quite a big signing because obviously Oxford came up as well. But to be able
Yeah.
to take him away from Oxford, I think that was a very good bit of business by them. But I think they'll
Yeah.
be fine. But just, I think they aren't quite at that level to maybe get a bit higher yet.
Yeah. And then Blackburn, as you mentioned, obviously another team teetering around there last year.
Yeah.
And Sammy Schmodic's goals were so vital that if he does leave, they obviously will not have a replacement at all. So,
No.
I mean, you'd imagine now would be the time to cash in as well, off the back
Oh
of
yeah,
like
for sure.
being Championship top goal scorer at his peak of his value. So I
Yeah.
feel like it would make sense if they did end up reinvesting that money well. I'm not sure how much he's rumored to be leaving for. I don't know if you know.
I feel like it's maybe like high teens. I think
Yeah.
like 15, 16 million. I think.
Yeah, so I feel like if they can invest that well, then they could end up having a solid season. But it's
Yeah.
getting later in the window. The later they leave it to sell him, obviously the harder it will then become to replace him. So
Exactly.
that's why I feel like, I mean, I think 19th is a pretty solid season for them.
Yeah.
So it's 18 to 16.
18 to 16. In 18th, I've gone for Watford. I think,
Yep.
obviously, I know pre-season's not really to be judged, but I think they've had quite a tricky pre-season. Tom Cleverley's gone in there. It's his first real crack at the senior role, or in senior management. I think Watford do have the potential to do well in the future, but I think Tom Cleverley needs to be given time. They've got quite a young squad, so I think it's going to be a tough season for them. But I think if he's allowed the time to build, then I think Watford could have potentially quite an exciting squad in the next few years. In 17th, I've gone Cardiff. Excluding the bias, obviously, but I don't think they're going to have as strong a season as they did last year. Obviously, I think they did quite well last year, but if you look at how they ended last season, they lost 5-2 to Rotherham on the final day. Like, obviously, new manager bounce and whatnot with Steve Evans coming in, but still 5-2 to Rotherham with that squad.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's not good. So I think they'll still be in the Championship, but I just don't think they'll have as good of a season. And 16th, I've gone for Argyle. I think.
Yep.
I just, again, same with, like I said, for Portsmouth. I think they'll finish. They'll be okay, but I don't think they've got enough quite yet to go that bit further. Obviously, the signings that have come in: Ogbeta, Tijani, Sissoko, Palsson, and Sooks the other day.
Yeah.
I think
Very excited for another Hungarian.
Yeah, all exciting signings, but I think 16th would be good as well. And I think Rooney, obviously, it's a new style of play for Argyle, something a bit different.
Yeah.
So it's all going to take some getting used to, and sometimes it can take a season, maybe 3/4 of a season for it to really kick in. So I think 16th is probably fair for them.
Yeah. So I've got Cardiff in 18th. Similarly to you, did well last year. I just don't see them continuing that. I just don't. I think they'll be okay. Obviously, I don't think they'll be at threat of relegation. I feel like those teams underneath them are the ones who are really in the battle there. But yeah, Cardiff. I feel like it'll be like a solid, like just confirming their Championship, because I heard a few people pick them to go down last year, and obviously they've survived. They surprised a lot of people last year. So I feel like this year it's just another bumbling along. They'll be in there. 17th Watford, again similar to you here. We're sensing a theme. As you say, Tom Clever, it'd be really interesting to see how much time he's given, because as we know with Watford, they line up their managers and never give them any time. No. So I feel like if he struggles to begin with, he'll be off. Will he be given that time? As you say, they could have an exciting squad in a few years. I mean, that remains to be seen. But they've still got like star players like Sema, obviously brilliant player. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how they do and how much time they give Cleverley, because that's the big one, really. Yeah. And then 16th, I've gone for Hull. Similar reason to you, in that I think it was such a poor decision to sack Liam Rosenior. Yeah. Obviously, Argyle fighting for their lives on their last day, given maybe any other team in the division, and it could have been a different story in terms of would they have made it in the playoffs. Obviously then who knows. So yeah, as you say, lost that like star-studded Championship team they had last year, and so I feel like it will just be a matter of them of trying to regain some of that form. I think they'll be one of those teams that goes and like has some good wins against the top sides, but may end up slipping up like against an Oxford or a Millwall. So yeah, 16th, that is where I've stuck Hull.
Okay, so my 15th to 13th, I've gone for Sheffield United in 15th.
Very, very brave.
Yeah, I honestly just don't think they're going to have a very good season. I think they struggled last year. Yeah, they've brought in some good players, and pre-season has gone quite well for them. But I just think they're going to struggle. I just honestly think they're going to struggle. They have got a points deduction as well. Yes, it is only -2 points, but yeah, I don't see them having a very good season. 14th, I've gone for QPR. I think they're going to improve on last year. I think losing Chris Willock is going to be a bit big. Is going to be quite big for them in terms of creativity. But overall, I think QPR are going to have a better season, but still not quite enough to break into that top half yet. And then 13th, I've gone Preston. I think they had a good season last year, but I think teams below them are probably going to have caught up. So I think that's going to be kind of where Preston are, back to their sort of usual finishing point.
Yeah, I mean, Preston are like the most mid-table teams, aren't they? They're like the Crystal Palace
of the Championship.
Obviously Bristol as well, yeah. So my 15th, you're going to hate me, but I've gone for Swansea.
Fair enough, that's fair.
I mean, I saw your tweet on Twitter where you were saying about how you've cooked in the transfer market, and I genuinely didn't know who any of the players were except for Vigouroux. I don't know if that's on me or if it's like the players are just like unknown gems or whatever.
I think they're more unknown gems than anything, but there you go.
Okay. I don't see you getting pulled into that relegation battle, as a few people have said, can I say, not just who we're going to see coming up.
Yeah.
I've heard a few people, I don't know. I feel like you're too strong for that. You had a good side last year. Obviously, I watched you on a couple of occasions. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it would just be one of those seasons where you probably, again, like I said for Hull, will have some good wins against top sides, but will struggle against the lower sides. I could see teams going to the Liberty and taking points off you, but
yeah,
I'm not. I don't think you'll get dragged into that relegation battle, but I just don't see you having enough to be pushing upwards on the table. Now, this is quite brave, but I have gone for Argyle in 14th. And this is where my knowledge of the Championship, this is where not my knowledge of Argyle, I can put it into place. So, one, I've put them there, obviously just to annoy you, because they're one position above Argyle, above Swansea. But mainly just because I feel like if Rooney gets some playing, we could really do something. Like last year, obviously, we really struggled away. That was the big glaring factor. We didn't win away until Swansea, obviously. I mean, I could see it happening so much earlier in the season. Like Sheffield Wednesday first game will be really tough, obviously. Yeah. We go there, it's on Sky, 4 p.m. on a Sunday. You'd be happy, you'd be overjoyed with a draw, probably, especially considering how highly pitched Sheffield Wednesday are being this season.
Yeah.
But then, like I said, in a few weeks after that, you got QPR. Like I could see points being picked up there on the road already. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like this year, obviously, we kept Whittaker. It doesn't really look like he's going to go now because the Rangers' interest has cooled. Looks like Cooper's going to stay because Sheffield United have said that they want Carl Rushworth, which is interesting. But yeah, I just feel like if Whittaker and Sissoko just looks unbelievable, like that looks like such a great piece of business. I've seen us rumoured with Adarabeu from Bolton. I'm not certain of that one, but based off of what the Bolton fans are saying, and then his goal record, he got 10 and 46 last year. So it's not great for a striker. No. But I feel like what we've got, especially now, I mean, Dan Scar leaving was an interesting one to me.
Yeah.
Because without like a ready-made replacement already, one in the squad or two coming in, because it looks like Schütz is going to be more of a right-sided player than a centre-back. So I feel like that could be our Achilles heel, the defence. I don't think we'll have any trouble scoring goals. I mean, we didn't last year, really, until Ian Foster came in. Obviously, we know Rooney plays that expansive attacking football. We spoke quite in depth about Rooney on the other podcast. If you haven't watched that already, give that a watch. That was before the transfer window as well.
Yeah.
So hopefully we won't be bitten in the ass, and I just think we'll have enough to just push away a little bit. I I've seen some crazy Argyle fans saying like we're going to go on a playoff run, and I feel like we do kind of need to rein in our expectations a little bit. And then I've also heard people say, a lot of pundits say they think we're going to finish dead bottom with Rooney gone by Christmas. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like, again, any Argyle fan this year, after the disruption of last year, the Ian Foster era, once again, you'd be happy to stay up. Absolutely. If we finished 20th, where I've got Portsmouth, you'd be happy. But I just feel like, if he gets us playing, we get the away wins flowing. That's so important because we always used to be renowned for our good away form when we were in the lower leagues. So obviously, there's no comparison in the Championship to League Two. No. But we really just need to get playing. And then 13th, because we do still have the rest of the table to go. I've gone for Stoke. I think they'll have a solid season under Schumacher. It's his first full year. Obviously, we know he's a good manager. They've got a good squad there. He's brought in some good players and he inherited a good squad as well. So I feel like, again, what is it? What's the system called? The Bet365, is it still called that? Or is it
the Bet365,
Tough place to go, absolutely. As the old parable goes, who wants to go to Stoke on a Tuesday night? It is going to be a fortress for them this year, I think. So I feel like they'll have a good, solid season. And I think that, that is my 15th to 13th.
Right, so then my 12th to 10th. In 12th, I've gone Stoke. I think they're going to have a better season. Shuey's going to do well with them. Made some good signings. Already got some good players there as well, like Dae-Jin Ho. He was
He's the one I was going to mention. I just couldn't remember his name.
I think goals is what he needs, really. He needs to start scoring some goals because he is a brilliant player. In 11th, I have gone for the Swans. I think it will be an improvement on last year, and I think our pre-season was, well, from what Luke Williams has said, it seems really quite positive. Maybe the results in a couple of the games weren't quite what you'd hope for, or what we'd hope for, but I think we've done quite well, and I think the signings we've made, our recruitment team went on about trying to not just sign players from within this country, go into Europe, go worldwide, go international for signings, and we've stuck to that. I mean, obviously Lawrence Vigouroux was born in London, but he's a Chilean international. We haven't signed one player yet this season who is of British sort of citizenship, shall we say. So I think they've kept to that word, and they've gone with a data-driven policy. And the players that we've signed, from what I've seen, obviously whether the league they've played in is comparable to the Championship or not, but I think we have signed some really quite good players, especially in Eom Sung. Looks really, really good, really confident on the ball, sort of like Heung-min Son in a way, maybe when he was a little bit when he was younger. Gonçalo Franco looks a really good midfielder, and then Zan Vipotnik as well from Bordeaux, scored 10 goals last season. I think Bordeaux they weren't the best then, so maybe he could score more, but he's a big striker, and I feel that's what we lacked last season. So hopefully he can score some goals for us. Enough about Swansea now. But then 10th, I've put Middlesbrough. I think, again, they had a bit of a tough season last year, but I think they'll just have a better year. 10th is probably about where they'll finish. I don't think they'll go any higher, considering the other clubs that are around them. So Middlesbrough for me is 10th.
Yeah, so I've gone for, was it 12 to 10, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've actually got, we've got Argyle 14th, then Shuey X of Argyle in 13th with Stoke, and then Ryan Lowe X of Argyle with Preston in 12th. Yeah, they are my 12th. They finish 12th every year, as Palace do in the Prem.
Yeah.
I feel like someone's got to say it. It'll be a solid season for them. I don't think they will have enough to push for the playoffs. I feel like they are just lacking compared to the quality that these other teams above them have. But it'll be solid enough. They're not going to be in that battle. I feel like that's what you can say for most of these teams who are in the mid-table area, is they're just lacking in a few areas, just I mean, purely financially as well, compared to the teams who are at the top of the league. So yeah, Preston in 12th, and then Sheffield Wednesday I've gone for in 11th because
Okay.
I think they will really kick on. I'm worried about the fact that Argyle have to go there first,
Yeah.
which I think is saying something. Their manager, of course, the German, what's his name again? I can't
Danny
remember.
Roll.
That's the one. I mean, he's playing rock and roll football.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel like he's going to get them playing. Again, another one of those teams where Hillsborough is going to be a fortress, a tough place to go. It always has been
Yeah.
in the lower leagues. But yeah, I feel like their main problem last year was obviously shipping goals. So if they can shore up there, they've not had any problem of scoring them. So I feel like, again, just like similar to Argyle, as long as they manage to stop the goals going in, they'll be completely fine in terms of scoring going forward. And then in 10th, I've gone for Bristol City. So I feel like it's just they're another one of those teams that always hangs around the mid-table area.
Yeah.
This year, they've made some exciting signings over the summer. They had the Japanese winger who's come in, who looks
Yeah.
good. And yeah, I feel like it will be a good year to push on for them. They've been due a bit more excitement in
Yeah.
these past few years. They haven't been in the playoffs for a while, and I think they'll have that race this year. I feel like they will have no trouble finishing 10th.
Okay, so my 9th to 7th. In 9th, I've gone Sheffield Wednesday. Like you said, I think they'll really kick on this year. They've made some brilliant signings over the summer. I think bringing back James Beadle, again, was quite important for them. He seemed really quite good for them last season. Did well at Oxford in the first half of last season as well. Bringing in Jan Valery as well, an ex-Southampton Academy product. Did look like he had a bright future.
Yeah,
Just fell away there, really. Bringing in Jamal Lowe as well. Proven championship experience. Obviously, he's getting on a bit now, but he still does have it in him. Is it Charlie McNeil from Man United?
yeah,
I think that's another good bit of business as well. And Danny Roll, brilliant manager, really got them going towards the end of last season. They won their final 3 games, scoring 3 in each, I think. So I think they're going to be a good side and quite tough to beat, but just not quite good enough yet for the playoffs. In 8th, I've gone Sunderland. I think, again, a much improved season. Not quite there with the playoffs, but new manager coming in, Regis Labrie, not really played in, well, he's only managed Lorient throughout his career. Worked his way up through the youth levels, the youth teams, and then took them on a couple of years ago. Finished second in his first season as manager there for the first team. Didn't have such a great second season. But yeah, I think he'll be a good manager for them. Obviously, the owner's French, he's French, bringing that connection, and they've got again a good bunch of young players, and Jack Clark as well, a guy who was touted with a move away, but he seems to be staying. So if they can keep him, if they can keep Joe Bellingham, and if they can keep Anthony Patterson, their goalkeeper, they've got a good side, and I think they can push up the table. Then in 7th, I've gone for Norwich. I think new management, obviously going to be a bit of getting used to style of play. But yeah, I still think it'll be a good season for them, but just not quite enough to get into that top 6.
Yeah, so very similar to mine there. 9th, I've gone Sunderland. Similar reasons to you. I just don't think they'll have enough to push in to the playoffs. Obviously, like you said, the first season for the new manager. Like, I feel like they'd be pretty content finishing there. Nice young squad as well.
Yep.
So, like you said, keep that core, and a few years to come, absolutely pushing up. 8th, I've gone for Middlesbrough. Again, another team. I was kind of teetering with the idea of sticking them in the playoffs, but I feel like they'll just miss out because there is so much quality above them now.
Yeah.
Michael Carrick, obviously, great manager, so
Yeah.
he seems to be doing a pretty solid job there and just building. And then 7th, exact same as you, I've gone for Norwich. Just again, I remember a lot of these teams, like I can obviously use my experience from watching Argyle there, and we went there at the end of the season. It's such a tough place. Like you look at the fixture list, you're like Norwich, where it's like we're just not going to get anything there.
Yeah.
I feel they're one of those sides where they will just pick up points. I don't know how well they'll do against the teams above them, obviously.
Yeah.
But those teams lower in the table, they should easily be able to pick the points up off. And I feel like they're just missing out. They are a team, again, another one who I originally had in my playoffs in these drafts, like right up until the last minute coming into this. I've changed things around.
I've only just taken them out.
And yeah, so next up, the top six. You might as well do your 3 to 6, and then it's the top 2, isn't it, who go up?
Yeah.
So
my
give
playoffs,
us your 6 to 3, yeah.
In 6th, I've gone for Coventry. Just missed out last season. I think they'll do better this season. Really, the key for them is to not concede as many goals and draw less games. The amount of games they drew last season was ridiculous. So
yeah,
I think,
again, the old parable in football: the draws are killing us. That was them all over.
I think at one point they had like, I don't know, maybe 2 wins, 5 draws, 2 wins, 5 defeats, and 8 draws. Like very early in the season, it's just they draw too many games, and I think looking at Coventry over the last few years, it has just been a big problem for them. So they just need to stop drawing games, and then I think playoffs will be very clear cut for them. 5th, I've gone Luton. Yep. I think much of that squad stayed. So, I think that was what when they went into the Premier League. I think that's what they designed to do. They basically bought for the 24-25 season.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
They kind of knew that it would be difficult for them to stay up. They did so well as well. I think that they did much better than anyone thought they would. So for me, Luton were 5th. 4th, I've gone for West Brom. They had a bit of a tough pre-season. Obviously now they're under that restriction on the EFL imposed business plan for them to not go over the financial fair play rules. But I think West Brom, with Carlos Corberán as well, they just seem to be that team. It doesn't matter if they're struggling; they will just find a way.
Solid.
Yeah, they're
just
so
solid.
I think that defeat against Birmingham, I've seen the highlights of it. It was just poor defending for all those goals, really. I don't think it's too much to worry about, because how many times a season are you going to defend badly, So I think West Brom 4th. Now 3rd, this is a pretty big one.
This is the road one.
But they are my dark horses this year. I've gone for Bristol City. I think Liam Manning.
You're gonna please a lot of Bristolians.
I am. Well, see,
which is crazy as a Swansea fan.
I know.
Is there any rivalry there, really?
Kind of. They more have Cardiff than us, but
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
There's always a bit of banter during those games. But anyway, Bristol City 3rd. Liam Manning. He did it with MK Dons. I don't really see Bristol City in terms of this Bristol City side in much different, really, compared to the side he kind of had with MK Dons. I'd say similar quality for respective leagues, and they've made some exciting signings. And obviously with players like Scott Twine, Anis Mehmeti, 2 brilliant creative players.
Is Twine still there?
I think he's still there.
I thought he was only there on loan. I was almost certain he was only there on loan.
Oh, he is only there on loan. I forgot he played for Burnley. Okay, ignore that then. Twine's not there. Anis Mehmeti.
It's all right.
Brilliant,
still got a good squad.
Brilliant player. But yeah, I think they've got a good, strong squad, and I just think they'll do well.
Well, I mean, everybody has to have a rogue shout, don't they? So I don't mind that. So I'll do mine. In 6th, I have gone for Sheffield United. Unlike you, I don't think they'll struggle that much, because they have got a really good squad. They got Callum O'Hare from Coventry, of course, and they've still got most of the players who are in the Prem with them. I feel like, I don't know if they'll win the playoffs. I haven't chosen a playoff winner. I don't know if you have.
I have.
Okay, all right. I might have to choose one on the spot then. But I feel like they, despite the points deduction, will just steamroller over some teams and then get steamrolled over themselves. I feel like that's one of their problems, is that they're either really one way or the other, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like last year we saw them in the Prem, there were teams who would go there and tear them apart, and then other days they'd be able to score 3 or 4 themselves.
Yeah.
So they just need to find a bit more consistency. In 5th, the solid boys, as we just mentioned, West Brom. As you say, Carlos Corberán doing a very good job there. And again, they're just really solid to play. I feel like they just let themselves down in the playoffs, didn't they? Because those games were so boring. Like it's just like they're a bit too solid, if anything. Like they needed to be a bit more adventurous. So yeah, I feel like that's what West Brom need to do really this season, is get those attacking players, like play more attacking, because it's all well and good not conceding any goals, but you need to go and take it to teams as well.
Yeah.
Fourth, I've gone for Coventry. As we say, just missed out, and I feel like they'll be up and around it again. Just another team who's just so, like, Mark Robbins is just doing so well.
Yeah.
Like, there's just these managers that, like, I feel like it's a lot the manager as it is the team, really. Like, when I'm looking at teams like West Brom and Coventry and even like Middlesbrough, I'm like, I think they're going to do well just because they've got such a good manager. So, Coventry, I've gone for fourth. Feel like another good campaign for them, and I feel like they'd be pretty content with that again, another playoff race. And then third, I've gone for Luton, as we already mentioned, literally built for this year, last year.
Yeah.
As you say, nobody was expecting them to stay up. They didn't in the end, but brilliant job. Got such a great attacking talents there. Carlton Morris, such a great striker for the Championship. So yeah, I feel like they might have to be my playoff winners. I haven't chosen one yet, but I reckon it'll be between them and West Brom for me. And it looks like we have the exact same top two then, Xander.
Yeah. Just before we go on to the top two, my playoff, this is how I predict the playoffs to go. I think West Brom will beat Luton, and then Coventry will beat Bristol City, and Coventry will beat West Brom in the final
Interesting.
of the Premier League.
Coventry to the Prem.
Yeah, I think it's that. Excuse me, I think it's their time. Anyway, top two. In second, I've gone for Scott Parker's Burnley.
Yeah, same here.
I think Scott Parker, just with the last two times he's been in the Championship, his sides have gone up through the playoffs and gone up second. I don't quite think he's quite the title-winning manager. No offence to him, but I just don't think Burnley are going to win the league. And then, obviously, first, I've gone for Leeds. I mean, they've also got a lot of money to recoup, but I still think they're going to do it. They've still got a lot of brilliant players there, like Rutter, Ampadu, Roden,
Your boy Peru.
Yeah, Peru. He might be on his way out, but Gruev looked really good last season. I think I saw somewhere where it said Brendan Aronson was going to stay at Leeds,
Interesting.
which will be big for them because he's quite a good player. So yeah, Leeds for me, the champions.
Yeah, I mean, similar to you there. Obviously, I've gone for Burnley second, Leeds top.
Yeah.
I mean, I would absolutely love to have predicted anybody else top than Leeds because
Same.
I know the fact that their fans are going to absolutely love that, but I genuinely just can't see anybody else pipping them. I think they're going to be too strong this year. I know, obviously, in the end, last year they didn't have enough, but this year, just again, as I keep mentioning with these teams with fortresses, Ellen Road, I could genuinely see them going unbeaten there all season. It's just one of those things. Once they get the crowd on their side, and they're playing, it's just they're unbeatable, honestly. So yeah, I feel like Leeds are going to have a brilliant season, as we say. Maybe just needed to adjust last year and kind of feel like maybe their expectations were we're just going to go straight back up, and they kind of had a bit of a reality check. But yeah, this year I don't see any other side having enough to pip them. No. And then Burnley second, again, had kept this good Championship squad. The team that they went up with last time was a brilliant Championship squad. And I feel like, again, coming back down from the Prem, they've just got another brilliant Championship squad. So, again, I feel like Scott Parker's really not a bad appointment at all. No. I heard his name thrown around Argyle, and I would have been more than content with him coming there. So, yeah, good for Burnley. I feel like they'll have a nice, good season. Maybe not absolutely dominating games, but that's not really what you need necessarily when you're going on a title race. So, yeah, I know I haven't chosen a playoff winner. I'll stick my neck on the line. I'll say Luton will go back up. I'll say Luton will win the playoff final. So those will be my teams, the top three to go back up. Did you have any more to add before we go on to the our friends of the channel predictions?
No, let's head on to the friends of the channel. Let's see what they had to say.
Okay, so I've got the friends of the channel on my Google Drive, previously featured. You may recognise some of them. So first up, we have Mr. Isaac Tunnicliffe. There you go.
Yeah.
Should be able to see that one. So he has gone for Burnley as the champions, Luton second and Leeds third. So the same top three as me there. And then to go down, Blackburn, Derby and Oxford. So a recurring
similar
theme
to-
there with Oxford. Yeah, similar to us again.
Yeah.
I didn't push him for a playoff winner. So unfortunately, we will not know. But it'll be one of those teams in there. Any other standouts there to you? He's gone Swansea quite low down, Xander.
Honestly, I'm not bothered by that just purely because that's what I've been seeing the whole time, really. Swansea always get put low. Like, since we've been relegated, it's been like 14th, 15th, 16th, 18th, 19th, 21st. Like, I've seen it all. Like, and we
Yeah.
always seem to finish, even when we have a bad season, like 16th or 14th, we still finish higher than what we were predicted to. So, keep them coming. I'd say the only one that anything that would really surprise me there is probably Stoke and QPR. I don't think they're going to finish that low again, really.
Yeah, I mean, QPR for me, I had them to go down, so I can't really say much about that one. But Stoke, yeah, I'd be surprised if they finished that low down.
Yeah, I don't
It's got
think
Millwall high.
Millwall, sort yourself out, mate. Come on. I don't think they're finishing that high. But yeah, to be honest, I don't have a problem with the others, really.
Yeah. Next up, this is going to be a nice and controversial one, Mr. Lucas Berti. He has also recorded a video for us to watch, but we'll go to his table first. So here is his top 14, oddly enough.
Top 14.
He said,
Sheffield United. Good God.
Sheffield United champions. Whereas Xander had them very low.
I did have them very
this
low.
Would be, sorry, I'm still trying to work this out. This will be very interesting to come back to at the end of the season to see which one he was right.
Yeah.
Who has he got in the playoffs? So Burnley, Leeds, Cov, and Sheffield Wednesday in the playoffs. Interesting.
I hate it, but I think Portsmouth definitely quite high.
Yeah.
Norwich maybe a bit low. To be honest, I think out of the three teams that came down, I would honestly not have them as 1, 2, 3. Really.
There you go.
But there you go.
Who knows? And then the bottom of the table, which I'm sure you're going to love, Swansea last. Very, very, very brave.
Well, to be honest, we know why he's done that. He's just bitter because of Luke Williams getting Swindon relegated some 9 years ago. What do you want me to say? Like, come on.
Argyle just to survive. Blackburn to go down.
I agree with Watford. Don't mind Millwall. Don't mind Cardiff. I think it's a bit harsh on Bristol City.
Bristol City 16 places off what you said. Well, he did justify himself. He sent us over a video, so I'll be able to play that one for us now. Here we go.
Hello, the boys of the 90 Plus 2 podcast. J-Dog Townsend, NXT. Hope you're both well. As you can see, I've obviously put my predictions in here. I'm probably going to get cooked for them, so let me explain them. Our first bottom of the table, Swansea. Obviously, Xander, I know you'll be buzzing with this one. So I decided Swansea are going down because Gaffer's awful. So that's one thing as well. People might disagree with me. I don't like how he plays football. Maybe because he's sent Swindon down, but it's not biased. I don't know any of the players you signed apart from Vigor who can't kick the ball. So that's not a benefit for you either. So I think Swansea do go down. I've put them bottom, but I still feel like they battled out with Oxford. Oxford, I would have put them bottom, but I like some of the signings they've brought in. I like Malcolm Ebeweyi they brought in. I believe he's a good winger, obviously on loan from Palace. I believe they brought in some other good players as well. Obviously, some experience for the level of Matt Ingram coming in as a goalkeeper as well. Then also going down with them, I believe Blackburn, because I believe they do lose Sammy Szmodics. So when they lose Szmodics, they're definitely down. So depends who they bring in. I don't think they've brought in anyone either. They've obviously still got Sigurdsson, so I think he's an alright footballer. But apart from that, I don't think they've really got anyone else that They've lost Sam Gallagher to Stoke, losing to a rival as well. I know he's not that good, but he's still losing a player to a rival. So, yeah, I'll
I know
move on
he's
to
not that
Plymouth.
good.
I feel a bit like Jamie will be buzzing this and they'll be staying up. I feel like you stay up because I feel like that Sissoko you brought in is a really good player. Whitaker, if he stays as well. Obviously, Callum Wright, baller as well. So you got players like that. And then he got some good attacking midfielders as well. I believe he brought in. I like the striker Jajani you brought in as well. Good player. So yeah, you definitely stay up. Next, Derby. Yeah, they're staying up. They brought Joe Yates from Swansea. Why?
Put him on times
You might be able to tell me this. Why have you done your best striker to the Derby relegation rival? I think they stay up just because of that. And also they got Mendes Lang. Bristol City, I think they fall off a bit more this year, especially if Tommy Conway leaves. I do rate Sam Bell though, and a few of the signings they brought in, so I think they'll be alright. Watford probably sacked Tom Cleverley like the first week after he's been successful. Brought back Musa Sissoko, but once again, don't think anything else. Millwall, yeah, does the job. Standard, I think they'll take it. Tanganga, Herman Deal's a great signing. Corey Langton, they have brought in. Does he make it to league? Does he make it to championship level? I'm not too sure, so I've kept him there. Cardiff, people in Cardiff, of course, do well, as they brought in Anwar Ghazi, players like that. But did they do that well? I'm not too sure. Callum Chambers, of course, as well in the squad, but I feel like they'll take staying at Hull as well next. I believe they've lost a few players, so I believe that's why they'll be in this position. Jaden Philogene obviously is left. Liam Gallant obviously been recalled, players like that, so yeah, they'll be in that position come the end of the season. Portsmouth believe they will stay up, they've signed some good players, Josh Murphy, and they're bringing some a lot more better players as well.
Jacob.
So I feel like they just stay up. Preston, I feel like bog standard, no matter who they bring in, no matter who they don't bring in, they'll stay up. Stoke, I believe, Schumacher was full team, his full side he wants to charge. They'll be fine, they've got a good winner, I believe, I forgot his name, but you said about Vitesse, I think he got an exciting season, still got Vidigal players like that, so I think they will stay up. Norwich as well, does the job, Josh Sargent's still there. QPR, my surprise, a few people being in 10th, but I feel like Loftus Road's a hard place to go, and I feel like they've got a good side as well. Sunderland, maybe might do a bit lower, but once again, big club, so I think they'll stay there. Middlesbrough, 8th, does the job. Michael Carrick, good gaffer. Latte, good striker. So, yeah, let's say that. Josh Coburn as well, highly rated. West Brom, once again, West Brom won the playoffs last season. They've lost Thomas Asante, though, so that is I know some West Brom fans don't like him, but I think he's a good player. Sheffield Wednesday player, I think Danny Rose class. So that's why they're
Slow
there.
him down again for the playoffs.
Sheffield Wednesday, yeah, they're just a good team. I think they've got some good players. I'd be like, especially if they bring in EK Ugbo, still got Barry Bannon, so they could do well. Coventry, bring in Thomas Asante. From Mason Clark might be an outstanding player for them, and they're going to tip my playoff. They're going to be my playoff winners as well. Then Ivike, I believe, is an unbelievable right wing back for the level. Hadji Wright and Josh Ellis Sims, both still at the club, so I feel like they are going to have a great season again. And Dorico Arena, they love play good football on there, so they'll definitely be in the playoffs.
Leeds play good football on there.
Yeah, playoffs. It's got to be playoffs again. Depends if they lose. Obviously, Somerville's gone. Still got Nonto James, players like that. So whoever they bring in as well, that'll be good. Burnley still got their quality team from last year. Players like Amdouni still there. Still got Goodmanson, Trezor could have a good season. Odebear still there. Luton, I believe they built a Premier League team last year. Not a Championship team, last year. So they're obviously already for the Championship. Adebayo, Morris, unbelievable Championship strikers. And you got Jacob Brown, players like that. Ogbene should be quality at this level. And then top Sheffield United. I know that they have a points deduction at the beginning of the season. However, Callum O'Hare is an incredible signing from Cov. Also, Harrison Burrows is probably the best player in League One last season as well. So he's been signed. They just keep signing more and more. Harry Suter as well, proper good defender. So yeah, I feel like Sheffield United do win it. So that was a bit of an unpopular one, but I reckon they could do it.
There we go. I had to speed him up in the middle there because he sent over a 6-minute voice note, so I had to stick the 1.5 speed for the middle teams. But that was a lot, Xander. What is your response to that?
First of all, Swansea. Yappa. I don't care, really, to be honest with you. Like I said, every year we're always predicted to finish so far down the table. It's just funny because we always seem to finish higher. This might be.
Right, he's given us a good thumbnail. Swansea 24th? Question mark. So yeah.
But yeah, I just think that's the thing, though. I think people will base their opinions on how teams will do off pre-season transfers, how much they like a manager, how much they know the players. Like I was speaking to someone on Twitter yesterday, and they were all about and I saw someone was like, Matt Grimes has made the most progressive passes in the Championship for the last 3 seasons running, and he continues to be underrated by plenty of supporters within the club and supporters of clubs on the other side of the River Severn. And I just think it's like, oh, little old Swansea, like little old Swansea from Wales, they're not going to get their recognition because of that reason. And I think Iom Ji-sung, Gonçalo Franco, Lawrence Vigouroux, obviously he's a bit more known in this country, and Xander Popnik, no one knows who they are. So they don't really know what to expect, really. And I think only really Swansea fans are probably going to look at them more in detail, because obviously they're the players coming to the club. We want to see how they're doing. Are they bad? Are they really, really good? I just don't think anyone's really going to pay much attention to them. And if you don't know them, I think that's fair enough. But
yeah. Well, we'll see in May, of course, when we're back for the end of season predictions. We do have one final friend of the channel, Mr. Stephen Murfinio. He did say, he told me to preface this, he was like, I'm sorry if my ball knowledge is terrible. I was like, no, we need to see it. We need to get the predictions out here. We'll get them back on. Yeah. We'll try and get these guys back on the pod in May for their responses to their predictions.
Rory Jennings has the worst football knowledge I've ever seen, and he makes it on Sky Sports, so, it doesn't matter.
There you go.
It doesn't matter.
So he's gone for Norwich top, which is very interesting. I'm not sure anybody else has predicted that, not even Norwich fans. So if it ends up happening, I mean,
they've got the capacity to do it, apparently.
Yeah, so Stephen, being a Bristol City fan, has said he thinks they will hover in and out of the playoffs all season, but then bottle it the last few games. So
could see that happening.
Yeah. I think they'll have a pretty good season. Sheffield United having a shocker.
Yeah.
Similar to what you've said there.
Come back there.
Burnley, his playoff winners. So he said Norwich, Luton and Burnley to go up. Leeds to remain down.
If Leeds remain down for another season, I honestly think that is them in very big trouble.
Yeah, they're in the mud then, aren't they?
Yeah,
if all these players on such huge wages.
Yeah, if they don't go up, I genuinely think they are staying down in the Championship for at least 10 years.
Could it be another, 14 years or something?
Yeah, could even go down to League One. It is genuinely, if they don't go up, I think that is them screwed for a little while.
So then, moving down the table, Stoke quite low there, I don't know, maybe about right.
Maybe,
QPR, I feel like everybody else is quite... I feel like I'm just shitting on QPR. Poor QPR.
I did have them in the relegation zone in my very early predictions, but they have since moved on.
And then, where else has he got?
Brilliant.
There we go.
Brilliant. 22. Get on. Love it.
So that is the Swans down in
again.
2 out of these. Poor Swansea.
I mean, you know what? If we went down...
Sheffield Wednesday down as well, by the way.
I think that's outrageous. That is completely wrong.
Bloody hell.
I mean, Oxford, completely agree with.
Sorry, I love Hull. They've lost all their pre-season games and haven't made any signings. It makes it sound like they're going to fold as a club. So Hull could be in the mud. I mean, we'll see. I mean, if it ends up that, who is it? Norwich win the league and Sheffield Wednesday go down, then Stephen's going to look like a king and we're all going to look like idiots. So who knows? But that brings to a close today's episode. Did you have any more to add in terms of any surprise packages? I think you said your dad had some predictions.
Yeah, my dad said Sunderland, as I think any Sunderland fan would hope that they could win the league. But he said...
wow.
I think it was win the league. I don't know for sure. But he said, as a surprise package, he said it would be funny if Portsmouth, after all the years of not being in the Championship, went and did...
An Ipswich?
Yeah,
really?
Basically, yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
I mean, I saw very early on, when it was way too early to even be thinking about it. Some people were saying, Portsmouth are going to finish 8th and stuff. I don't think that now. But, who knows? It's the Championship.
Could be a pretty... I haven't got any, top goal scorer or anything prepared, no. I don't think. No.
I honestly don't know who that would be, to be honest.
No, that will bring to a close today's episode. Let us know down in the comments below who out of me and Xander you think had the better predictions. They were quite similar. And then who of the friends of the channel was the biggest stinker. I feel like either Stephen or Luca could be in line for that one. Yeah. Isaac kind of went under the radar because he didn't come up with any outrageous shouts.
I think Isaac did quite well with that one.
Keep watching, because next week we will have our Premier League predictions, and we've got plenty more friends of the channel with outrageous shouts there. And goodbye.
Goodbye.